Good afternoon, everybody, and thanks for being here today. My name is Terry Mullen, and I am the founder and CEO of Truelytics. And today I'm here to talk about something that is hopefully very important to you, and that's your business. Today, I'm going to suggest to you that the truth about your business, its current status, its value, and most importantly, its future, lies in the analytics. Over the next half hour or so, we're going to talk about strengthening your business, about benchmarking your business against other businesses, and finally, we'll actually help you put a real value dollar on your business. When I talk to advisors every day, I ask them, what are their assets, what are their revenues, how many clients they have. They know those questions off of the top of their head, the answers. If I ask them how much their business is worth, in many cases they don't have an answer. They never thought about it, and in some cases, if they did, it's actually it's not the right number. They're using what they thought was industry standard that really isn't an industry standard. Now, it is true that many of you aren't looking to sell your business in the next couple of years, and that's fine. So the valuation is just it's a nice to have. Really what we're here to talk about is how do we strengthen your business? How do we help you improve your business? Basically, how do we help you get better? And at the end of the day, it's understanding your business and understanding your opportunities. So if we want to strengthen our business, one of the things that I would suggest is we start to really think like a CEO. Now, I know that many of you do this, but you also have things that come up every day, and you're focused on your clients, on financial planning, on compliance, on getting new clients, that a lot of times it's hard to really think about your business like a business. And I joke all the time, people refer to it as a practice, they refer to it as a book, and I joke all the time that books are to read and practices for sports and yoga. This is really your business. And if you were to think like a CEO, it could help you improve. Now, let's just go through an exercise for a second and imagine that you were ready to hire somebody from the outside and bring them in that was going to be the CEO. What are the things that they're going to do? Well, the first thing that they're going to do is probably ask a lot of questions. They're going to want to understand a lot. And they're going to want to ask questions on a whole host of things about where you've been, where you are today, what are you doing from a process standpoint. So they're going to be looking at a lot of stuff. And three of the areas that they're going to focus on is, your business stability. What is the strength and depth of your management team? Do you have things like a continuity plan or succession plan in place? What has your historical growth rate been, and what are you expecting it to be going out into the future? They're going to want to know about your clients and your client stability. What are your assets? What is the composition of your client base? How old are they? How long have they been with you? How often do you interact with them? They're going to want to know about your market stability. What's your mix of business? Are you a commission type of business, or do you do financial planning and managed accounts? Do you outsource your investment management, or do you have that in-house? These are all questions that they're going to want to ask, want to understand, and see if there are ways to improve that, to be more efficient. They're also going to want to start to benchmark your business, to look at how you compare to other businesses, whether that's other businesses of a similar size, of other businesses the size that you want to be. So they're going to want to know, how did they get from X to Y? And what are the things that they need to do? So benchmarking is going to be critical. And there are a host of things that we can benchmark against. Here are some of them. What is the, clients, average number of clients per advisor, per staff? What are your assets per advisor, per staff? What's your client acquisition strategy? Is it all on referrals? Or do you have other things that you're doing? You cold calling? They're going to want to know, what is your relationship with the next generation? What are your expense ratios? What's your revenue versus AUM? Are you really getting 100 basis points, or is it a blended 65 basis points? So there are lots of things that you can benchmark against and to look at your business to help you understand it and to grow. So what you have to do in order to make any progress is to understand where you are and to value your business. What is your business worth today? Now, some people believe that there are industry standards, that it's a multiple of revenue or it's a multiple of EBITDA or EBOC. We believe that the best way to value these businesses is on a discounted cash flow basis. And a discounted cash flow basis is simply saying and looking at what is the predictability and the stability of the cash flow, the future cash flow that's being generated, and then discount that back for interest rates, because a dollar today is worth more than a dollar tomorrow, and the risks associated with that cash flow. And that is what we're going to share with you in a little bit on how you can do that, and then how you can see where those gaps are so you can improve upon it. Well, I know, as I said earlier, many of you aren't looking to necessarily sell. Some of you may be looking to buy, but how much, wouldn't it be nice to know how much your business could be worth in the future? And how do you get there? Well, remember, it's really just a snapshot in time. As I said before, in order to make progress, you have to know where you're starting out. Think about it like a doctor. You know, you go in and you get your checkup, and you need to know where your blood pressure is and all of your levels before you can start your weight, until you can start to make improvement. And this really is just a snapshot in time of what your business is worth. But it is absolutely critical that you know that so you can improve. And it doesn't matter whether you're looking to buy a business. Some of you may be looking to buy a business and you want to understand that. Doesn't matter if you're looking to sell your business. It would be nice to know, A, that it's worth more than what you thought it was, but also how much more it could be worth if that's where you want to go. But it's really critical if you want to grow your business. So I would suggest to you to think more like a CEO, and by doing so, taking in all of the data and the information that's available and the tools that are available to you to help you get to where you want to be. And at Truelytics, we have developed incredible software that will help you not just get a value of your business, but give you really great information on running your business like a business. So let's get into the demo. When you go onto the Truelytics site and sign up, we're going to ask questions on 7 areas of your business. It will take about 20 minutes to 25 minutes to input the information, provided you have it at your fingertips. So it may take you 20 or 25 minutes to get the information, but once you sit down to put it in, it won't take you that long at all. And we're going to ask questions on your firm, your ownership, your advisors, your clients, your processes, your revenues, and your financials. And that is going to generate your Truelytics evaluation, and that is a discounted cash flow valuation for your business, and it will give you a score on your business, client, and market stability, and it'll also show you the potential impact that that score has on your valuation. So going through the different areas, and I won't spend time on every one of these questions, I'll just highlight some of them, but we want to know when you were established, how you're structured, how do you register with the SEC, how many owners, advisors, support staff, who your broker-dealer is. We'll get information on your ownership. If there's more than one, you can add as many as there are based on your firm. If there are more than one advisor, you would add that and tell us their age and when they joined, and if they were, if they're an employee or not. Then we get information on your clients. And just again to reiterate, I mentioned earlier that this is on a discounted cash flow valuation basis. Every question that we ask has an impact to some degree on that discounted cash flow valuation, because it gets at the risk of that future cash flow. So we're going to ask questions about how many clients do you have, What is your AUM? What's your average client age? How many years have you been with? How many years have your clients been with you on average? How many do you add and lose each year? What percentage of your clients do you get through referrals? What percentage of your AUM is with your top 5 relationships? Now, I'm going to just spend a couple seconds on this page because I think it's important, and I'll just point out that this client age, that's probably going to be a B or a B minus. Clearly, the older your client base, the more risk there is to the future cash flow because they're in decumulation mode, most likely. And they're also closer to the end of their life, actuarially. If the 90% of client acquisition, you get 90% of your clients through referrals, that's going to be a big negative. And think of it, if the best way to think of this is if you were a new buyer, if you were going to buy somebody's business, how would you value it? Well, if you knew that all of their new clients come through referrals, would you be willing to pay more or less for that? There's risk associated with that. Same thing if they don't have a relationship with the next generation. The average advisor has between 8 and 10% of their assets are with the children of their clients. That is average. What's amazing is Fidelity did a study. They do a study every year, and there are other industry studies. 84% of the assets that you have will walk out the door when your client dies if you don't have a relationship with the children. So those are things that are going to be viewed as a negative for people that are looking to potentially buy the business. Then we'll ask questions around your processes. Do you have emergency continuity plans and succession plans, non-competes? If you didn't have, even if you're small and you only have 1 or 2 staff members, if you don't have non-competes, that puts the risk of those assets and revenues at stake if you lose them. So we want to make sure that you have that. Then we get information on all of your technology usage. There's drop downs, so it's very easy. This will tell us how ready we are to integrate if we end up being a buyer or a seller, but it also gives us some really great benchmarking tools that we can provide for you. Next, we're going to ask about your revenues. What is your net revenue after the broker-dealer takes their cut or the custodians? What is your growth rate expected? How much of your revenue is recurring? How much do you have discretion over? And we ask for what is the basis points that you are getting on your advisory business? And then we'll get the revenue by product breakdown. And then finally, we're going to ask about your financials. So we're trying to capture, if you have it, 5 years of net revenue. That will show us your growth rate. And then we get the operating expenses by category. And then we do the add backs and adjustments. This is a very important point and one that I've seen, and we've actually made it now much easier because it's somewhat foolproof. But one of the measurements that this industry utilizes is earnings before owner's compensation. And what you have to do is just assume that if I'm buying the business and the guy was paying himself a $150,000 salary, that $150,000 salary I don't need to pay anymore. So that goes right to the bottom line. So you want to make sure that you include it. So here, anything that you put in owner's W-2 and benefits will automatically copy over to the other side, so you can't have a double counting. Once we get all that information and any add backs and adjustments, you're done. You hit save and finish, and you're going to get your Truelytics score. This is your GPA. So this business with $100 million in AUM, 105, 1 owner, 2 advisors, has a Truelytics score, basically their GPA of 2.44. They have a C in business stability, a B in client stability, and a B in market stability. Actually, a B minus. It also has a discounted cash flow valuation of almost $9 million. We show the ratios, so you can see what their operating expense ratios are, and we also show them what the discount factor is based on the risk premiums. Every firm has a 21% discount to start, and that is because these are non-public, they're nano-cap businesses. There is not a lot of access to capital and credit. So we start at a 21% discount. That's what the industry would start at. And then you would add to that the risk premium based on your business client and market stability score. Next is your scorecard, and this is really where you're going to see the opportunities for improvement. Here are the 40 key performance indicators that show you exactly what your grade is, but also what the potential impact is. Now, I mentioned there are some non-competes was one. That's the biggest thing on your business stability. And again, put the potential buyer of a business's hat on, and if you knew that they didn't have non-competes, well, if one of those folks goes to a competitor down the street, you better believe they're going to be trying to use those relationships to get those clients to move over. The other area that I had mentioned, average client age, I thought it was going to be B minus, is a B minus. So clearly, if two businesses were identical in AUM and in revenue, but one's average client age was 63 and one's average client age was 53, which one would you be more willing to pay more for? Clearly, all things being equal, the one that has a lower average client age. So it gives you the areas that you can focus on potentially to improve the valuation of your business. We then show you your pro forma, so you can see how we get to the number. And this is basically just a math exercise. It's showing you that if you take the revenue and multiply it by 10%, the expenses by 10%, you're going to model that out for 5 years. And then on the bottom line, you have the earnings before owner's compensation present value, which gives us the discounted cash flow base. And that is it's taking it back to the present value on interest rates and risk premiums. That gets you your present value, and then you have your residual value, which basically is just assuming that this business is not going to end after 5 years. There is still going to be in the future, and we add that as the residual value to give you your almost $9 million discounted cash flow valuation. We also want to be able to show you what it would look like under other methodologies. So, and if we were off. So if we were off by 1 or 2% on the discount rate, you can see the impact that that has. Or if you looked at it on a multiple of revenue, EBITDA, on EBOC, on what people assume are industry standards. So at the end of the day, this becomes your Kelly Blue Book. It becomes the gauge for and I am 100% confident that a business that is like this would fall into the range between 970 and $2.1 million at the high end. Now, remember, a business is only worth what someone else is willing to pay for it, but it clearly will give you a very good gauge for that value. But as I said, really more importantly, it is what are the things that you can focus on to improve your business, to grow it, to get it in a healthier spot, so at that point in the future when you are ultimately looking to sell it, you can maximize what you have built up. So let me just make a final comment or two, because I've had a lot of advisors say, why would somebody pay me, I heard that they're going for 1.3 times revenue, and you're telling me that it would really be 3 or 4 times revenue, or 2 times revenue, 2.5 times revenue. The way that I would the way do I try to explain it is, if I came to you and said, I'm going to sell you, you can buy a building for $1.9 million, and it's going to generate $1 million of rent a year, cash flow. Would you buy it? Not only would you buy it, you'd try to buy every single building that you could that was going to generate that, because at the end of the day, you're going to get paid back in less than 2 years, in some cases less than 1.5 years. Now, I'm not trying to suggest that wealth management businesses are, are real estate. What I am trying to suggest and do suggest is that if you think about this as an asset producing or as a income producing asset, that is what you're going to want to look at on how long is it going to take you to get paid back, and how confident are you in that future cash flow. And if you're confident that you can bring those clients over and you can get that that revenue and can grow it, then you would absolutely look at paying more than what an industry 1.2 or so multiple of revenue is. So our goal is to help you maximize the amount of money you can get if you ultimately are a seller. If you're looking to buy, to make sure that you are paying a fair price for a firm and not overpaying if you happen to be the one that's going to be acquiring it. And for those of you that are neither interested in buying or selling, to make the most money that you can and to get the most out of what is in most cases people's biggest asset. And I talk to advisors all the time that don't really even think about it. You know, if this is one of the 2 or 3 biggest assets you have, which is your business, do you really treat it that way? Do you treat this as much as you would your stock portfolio? Do you know the same types of metrics you know about that as you know about the money managers that you've invested in? And if the answer is no, maybe you should start to think about understanding it that way. So thank you all very much for your time today. Appreciate it. If you have any questions, you can always reach out to me. I am happy to answer any questions and do a personal demo. If you go to our website, you can sign up for our free version, and that would be going to Truelytics.com and signing up for our free version. And you can get your scorecard and your Truelytics evaluation index. So again, thanks everyone, and I will turn it back over to the moderator.